Hi, you guys. This is Casey. I hope you're having a great day, night, wherever you are. Just remember, your fulfillment is not dependent on your current situation. So be grateful, be happy, and stay beautiful, okay? Today, we are talking about evictions. Now, it sounds like a dirty word, but honestly, it's not as bad as you think. You can make this out alive. And I'm here to tell you that there is hope, okay? So stick with me, and we're going to talk about some resources and what happened when I went through my eviction so that you get an idea of what you can do, okay? I had lost my job, so I was unable to pay the rent eventually. And so I had told my landlord the first month that I was going to miss the rent. And then the second month came around and I also wasn't able to pay. And he, or the property management company, decided to evict me. Your process could have been a lot longer. So the landlord can evict you 1 month after missing rent, or you could go a whole year without paying rent. It just depends on when they decide to file. But after missing 1 month's rent, you're in breach of the contract that you have between you and the landlord. So officially, they legally can file to evict you within 1 month of missing rent. And that's what happened with me because I received my eviction papers 2 weeks into the second month. So, and it takes a process to file an eviction. And as soon as I got those papers, I felt like my world was going to end. And it was terrible to feel like you were losing your home. Whatever situation you're in, you already know that it's extremely stressful and taxing on your emotions. Which is why I'm talking with you here today, so that I can alleviate some of that stress for you. Okay? Now, the first thing you're going to want to do, if you've also received eviction papers, is run to Google. Okay? You're going to want to find out as much information as you can about your local area laws on evictions. Okay? Now, another thing you're going to want to do is read your lease. I can't emphasize how important that is. Your lease tells you what you're responsible for and what the landlord is responsible for. You may end up responsible for extra things that you didn't know about because you breached the contract. So you're going to want to know your lease. Also, if the landlord is in breach of something as like a health violation or some kind of code violation where the landlord's not keeping up on it, you can also get that from your lease. All right, so when you run to Google, you're going to want to research your housing resources, pro bono lawyers, and housing assistance in your area. After you go to Google, this is when you're going to want to throw on those hustling shoes and get to work, because I'm telling you, you're going to have to run to different offices to find out what you need and get your ducks in line before court, okay? So get ready to hustle. If you are able to afford a lawyer, that's wonderful. Go for it. And you can have those private conversations with them all the time on your situation. But if you're in the market for a pro bono lawyer and you found one online, what you're now going to do is you're not looking to hire them yet. Because first you're going to want to get some consultation so you can get informed about your situation and what you need. When you go for a consultation, you want to tell them about your situation, where you are in rent, if it's a violation with the structure of the house, you can tell them that, hey, I pointed this repair out to my landlord and he never came to fix it, which is why I withheld rent. Whatever your reason is for being there, you need to speak to the lawyer openly and get their advice on what your next step will be. And if you're lucky, they may find that they do want to take on your case. All right? So just find a lawyer to speak to, get consultation. Now, when I went to go see the lawyer, they were unable to represent me because I guess my case just didn't fit their criteria. But they were able to give me this huge list of resources in my area that I could go to and find more information, find housing assistance, and just make it out of this situation alive, okay? So, you're going to want to speak to a lawyer, and if they have a list for you of different resources that you can utilize, get them to mark down the 3 most useful ones so that you don't waste your time going through the whole list. You want to go to the ones that can, for the most part, guarantee your next step. The next place I was sent to after the lawyer's place from the list happened to be one of the most useful resources that I found. It was another city housing center, but in this one, they provided hour-long class on tenant and landlord laws, and afterwards I got another free consultation and a certificate of completion showing that I was here and I was present and I'm doing my part in this eviction process. So if you go in front of the judge, you can show them evidence that, hey, I educated myself. I know what's going on here. In that class, they gave me so many great tips about, for example, depending on where you live, if your landlord doesn't have a license at the time of the writing the lease, they could completely be in the wrong. And even if you didn't give them money, that's a breach of contract on them. And you wouldn't even owe the eviction when you go to court. So that's useful things that you can learn from getting the certification. If your local area has it, get it. What you're going to want to do at this point, now that you're informed, now that you've got your ducks in line prior to court, you're going to want to sit down and really internalize your situation. Really figure out what is it that you want, because obviously you're here because there's a problem with your housing situation. And you have to seriously think about what your next step is, because they're going to ask you when you get to court, do you want to stay or do you want to leave and pay the eviction notice? And you have to figure that out for yourself. Once you do, you will go into court very confident about the situation and just ready to make it happen. So you want to be ready. I'm going to tell you about my court process, and it may be different for you. I just want you to get some kind of context and idea of what may happen depending on your area. So when I went to court, the judge introduced himself and then sent all the tenants and the landlord representatives, their lawyers, to the back, where you first sit with the lawyer and you discuss if you want an agreement drawn. If you're planning on staying, what you can do is get on a new payment plan where you can stretch out the eviction payment to the end of your lease. So if you've got another 5 months left on your lease, then they'll divide the eviction payment by 5 and add it on to your monthly rent payment. So you'll be paying, for example, the agreement that was drafted for me was at the beginning of the month, I paid the original rent amount, and then on the 15th, I was responsible for paying a portion of that eviction. And you may decide that you want to move forward with this agreement, and if you do, you sign a brand new lease, and then you walk out and you continue living in your home. But if you decide that, hey, you are not in the wrong, you don't want this agreement because you're not responsible for it, then you can choose to deny that agreement and go see the judge. When you stand in front of the judge with the lawyer, you kind of get to say your part of the argument. So if you're lucky, the judge will rule in your favor and not in the landlord's favor so that you can move forward. Just some options for you to think about. In my situation, I end up taking the agreement and moving forward with staying in my apartment. But your situation may be different, and you may decide that, hey, this place was a health code violation to begin with. I don't want to stay here. I'm looking for a new housing. They will give you time. They're not going to take your stuff and throw it out. That's illegal. They are responsible for giving you a respectable amount of time to get out. So, there is so much hope out there. I'm telling you, like, that list is filled with different organizations and places you can go that are willing to help you get out of this eviction, pay the eviction off, and they can also help you with your monthly rent. So before you get in a situation where you're going to be evicted, if you feel like you're going to miss a month's rent, go to the housing assistance places and you can get assistance where they support you, like paying maybe a percentage of your rent monthly for you. So there's hope out there. I was able to find 2 different places on this list that were willing to assist me with the total amount of the eviction. Before going to court, before all that, I got those ducks in lines, and that's what you're going to want to make sure, that you have your backup, that you have, when you go to court, you already know what's going to happen. You don't want to go to court without knowing your next process. Another thing that's great is if you need to get out and go to a new location, those rental assistance places that I told you about, they are willing to help you with the down payment on a place. So really, look into your choices. Don't be afraid to ask questions and to find resources. Even if you didn't pay your rent, you may not even be responsible for it. Know your rights. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you're feeling a little less stressed and just ready to take on this situation. You can do this. There's hope out there. Just be relentless and focused in trying to get through this. If you've got a friend who also is going through an eviction, share this video with them so that they can also be more informed. Like the video. Any comments, questions should go below in the comment section, and I'll try to get back to you and give you some more information. Subscribe to the channel so that we can come back and have more lovely conversations. I would love to see you again, and have a great day. Remember, you're strong, you've got this, and life will change for you.